Hi there, and welcome to part 5 of the tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to be looking at health and respawning. So we've got some shooting across the network, and we're going to be looking to respawn our players after they get hit. We wrote some of the code before, but now we're going to finish that off and make sure that we're able to respawn once our health gets to 0. So I hope you're going to stick with it. Alright, so let's get started on writing this health script and hooking it up to the gun script as well. So I've just got the player open right now, and I've got this space here that I'm going to create the health script. So this is in the scripts for the simple first person controller. You can organize yourselves however you like as long as you've got some plan for it. But I'm going to create a basic C# script. I'm just going to call this one health. While I have the player here, I'm just going to click on the player and add that to the top level. So this is going to be another one of those observable scripts. So it's going to have to go here, but we'll have to utilize that with inside the script. So if you double click on that, we'll open it up. So as we've done before, we need to add the pun using photon.pun, and as we've done before as well, we're going to turn this into mono behavior pun callbacks, so that gives us more power. And we're also, as we've done before, going to use the ipun observable interface. Remember that we need to, there's one function that we have to implement when we use this interface. So you can see that there's this little drop down here telling me that I need to implement an interface. So I'm just going to click on that right now, and it will create the function for me. So this is the writing stream. So I'm going to leave this blank just now. I'm just going to say what we're going to do, synchronize health. And we're going to create the variable that we need. So to begin with, for this one, we're just literally going to put the health, and I'm going to make it public so we can see it in the inspector. And I'm going to make it an integer, and I'm going to call it health. It seems fairly simple. I'm just going to do the standard 100 for that value, and then we're going to just synchronize that across the network. So if you remember from the last time, we say if the stream's writing, so if we are stream is writing, then we want to write our health value to the stream. So you just say stream, if I can spell, stream dot, and we do send next, and we do the health value, and that gets picked up at the other end with this else statement on connected clients that are clones. If we are reading, we are here, so we are reading, and we want to cast that back into the health. So we'll say health equals the type that we want to cast it to is an integer, and we'll use stream dot, and we do receive next in order to get the next value. So this will write that back into health for the connected client. So that will keep it synced across the network. The next stage that we're going to need to do is that the gun we never really finished. We had the most of it done in that we have the RPC and we see it shoot, but we put this comment in here as a to do, as something that we need to do. So we need to check this health script. So when the raycast hits something, we're able to get the object that we hit, and we are just going to literally check to see if it has hit something, and then we're going to run a function. So the function doesn't exist right now, so we can start with this, and then we'll need to write the function, or we could do it the other way around. Doesn't really matter, but we'll start here. So in order to work out if we've got a health script, I'm just going to say enemy health. I'm going to create a variable for enemy health, and then I'm just going to access the hit dot collider. There it is. So we get the collider, and then we try to get the component of health, and that's the script that we should put on all of the players. So if we've managed to successfully get that, so we'll just do a simple check. So we'll say if enemy health exists, then we have hit an enemy, do damage. The damage script we haven't written yet, so we'll quickly jump back to that. So we'll go into the health, and just underneath where we've got that on synchronize, let's just create a public function, and we'll call it void return type, and we'll call it take damage, which is as good a name as any, and we'll take an integer amount of damage as the one parameter. So with that done, all we do with it is we literally say that health minus equals damage, so we take that value of damage off of the health. That allows us to take the damage from the gun. So now that we have that health script, we should be able to just run that function. So enemy health should be the health script, and the function was take damage, so we should be able to find it. And I don't know, we'll just put a value of 20 in for now, just to keep it simple. So in theory we should see the value go down. The take damage function should get called, and it should be synchronized across the network. And because inside of the gun, because this is an RPC, as you remember from before, this is getting called effectively on the server, so it will affect the damage, and it should be synced across. So I'm going to test that just to make sure, but making sure that that it's all hooked up properly. We created the interface, so we had created that health script, but we do need to remember that we have to observe it. So in order for it to sync across, we'll just need to observe it. So I've added an extra slot in here. I'm just going to drag this health as an observable, so that the health should go across. So in theory, I think we've got all of that done. The scripts are all saved, and the players should be sweet. So I'm just going to pause the video and test this. So after testing, I managed to find one minor issue. The code was all great. We were managing to do the raycast and hit something, but unfortunately the thing we were hitting was not the top level player, which has the health script attached to it. So part of the code was failing. The reason for that is something that I forgot way back earlier on, is that the capsule right here, when you create the default capsule, it has a capsule collider, unfortunately, and it was the collider that was getting hit. And so when you have hit the collider, and you're returning the capsule collider and you're trying to find a health script, it doesn't exist on this game object, because this is just the capsule, this is just the visual. So to get it fixed, you get rid of the capsule collider. You can either completely remove component, as I've done there, or just untick it, as you've seen. So one more try, I will test this and hopefully show you it working this time round. So I've managed to build it out, so I'm going to start the server here, and just drag this window off my screen, and then just connect with this other, with the actual Unity instance. Once it's connected, I'll hit play. You'll see that both the objects are here, and if I go over to the side, I can actually look and see the public variable of health. So I'm assuming this is the player that I have. So if I just select the other one, you shall see that it'll have a health of 100, and you'll see that when I shoot it, the health goes down. So this is that's the server, the connected client. So you see that it is working, and obviously we got to minus 400. So clearly that's not something that we want in the game. So we want to be able to respawn. So that will be the next part of the video. Alright, so respawning, I've gone back to the health script here, and this is not an amazing place to put the respawn, but we'll put it in here because at least we can check the health, and that's the reason for triggering the respawn. So I'm going to write a coroutine. I'm going to write an IEnumerator coroutine so that we can have a kind of respawn and then wait a few seconds and then re-enable the player again. We're going to build on it and start from real small. So we're going to call this an IEnumerator return type, and we're going to call it respawn. The next step would be that we need to put this health value back up to 100 so that it doesn't continually keep running. When we check this, it would be great if we could just say that transform.position was equal to a new position of 0, I don't know, 10, 0. It would be amazing if we could just do that. Unfortunately, the way character controllers work is that character controller takes over some of that movement, so we actually need to move the character controller or disable it. So what I'll probably just do is disable the character controller, because that just makes it easier. So if I just do get component character controller, because I know it's part of it's on the same level as the health script, so I should be able to find this, and then I'm just going to say enabled equals false. So we disable the character controller, then we move, and then we're going to wait for a bit. So this is the yield, so yield return new, and we use wait for seconds, and we can maybe wait for 1 second. You can change it to whatever you want. And then we just want to take the opposite of this, so I'm just going to copy paste, and I'm going to make it re-enable the character controller, and then we should be sweet. So in theory we need to trigger this respawn event when our health reaches 0. So it's pretty simple. Inside the update, this runs every frame, so we're just going to say if the health is less than or equal to 0. We want to start that coroutine, and we called it respawn. So yep, that's exactly what we show. I've got extra brackets there and one there. That's it. Got it in the end. So the basic premise here is that the server detects that there's any collisions, so the gun that's on the copy that's on the server will actually do the damage to the connected player. Those connected players will synchronize their health, and each connected player, these are the server versions, will when their health is equal to 0, they'll start that respawn coroutine. So in theory this should work, and once again we'll go back just quickly to check that everything is in place here. So we have the health script is on and synchronized, and the character controller, you can see the character controller is there, so we should be able to find it. So once again, I'll pause the video, we'll test it, and hopefully it will all be working. So we've managed to get this up and running. It looks terrible, and I'm going to do something to solve this. So you can see that we can shoot a player, and they get sent straight to the beginning again. They get right to the top. Because we're not switching the visuals off, what happens is we get this sort of weird warping to that position, because the server's trying to interpolate the position, thinking that they've actually deliberately moved them, but it's not the case. So what we're going to do real quick is we just get that code up again, just close this all up, and we'll just do one simple thing to expand on this respawn. So I'm going to grab all the renderer components and disable those and enable those so that basically makes it invisible so you can't see it. So I'm gonna create some renderers. So if we do renderer, a renderer array, and we'll call this visuals. The renderer array will get in start, so we'll say visuals equals, and we'll do get components in children, so multiple components in the children of the game object this script is attached to, and the components we're looking for is renderer. So this should get all of the renderers. If I just jump to Unity for a second, close that box, close that box. Okay, so just jumping to Unity, you'll see that this player right here, there are no renderers on this top level object. They are, so that's the player, they're on the capsule, and if you had other stuff, other extra bits and pieces, so we've got the capsule, we've also got this this cube here has also got a renderer component here, so we need to grab them all and store them so that we can go through them all and delete them. So this will get them all, which is easy enough. The best thing to do, I feel, would be to write some kind of function to do this. So I'll just quickly do this. So we'll make a void function and we'll say set renderers, and we'll say pass in a bool, which will be the state that you want to set it to. Then for each renderer in visuals, so for every single one, we're just going to say renderer dot enabled equals and then pass in state. So I'm not sure if this is making any sense to you, but it's just going to cycle through every single one of the visuals and set the enabled or disabled state to the parameter that you pass. It probably makes more sense when I do this here. So basically the first thing you want to do in respawn is disable them. So we've got our function, we'll call it set renderers, and we'll set it to false, so that should cycle through all of visuals and set them all to false. When we have waited 1 second and we re-enable the character controller at the very end, we'll do the opposite. So we'll use our funky function again, and this time we'll set the renderers to true, so that should re-enable things. So once again, quick test, make sure it works. So I've managed to build it all out, and as you can see, it is working. So once you've managed to kill someone, they get put back in their spawn point, and they go there invisible and get made visible again when they get to the other side. So there's a heap of things that we can do to improve upon this, and in the next videos I might put together a few little bits and pieces that we can do to try and improve upon this. So hope you're enjoying the series, and please can you put some comments in about things that you'd like to see next. Obviously level design would be really important. Making this a reasonable level would be good, and it might be quite fun just running around. And spawn points would be a really good thing, because rather than just this hard-coded one random spawn point, it might be better if they had spawn points that they could choose from. So yep, make some comments and give me some ideas about what you want next for this pun tutorial, and I hope you're enjoying the series. Thank you.